What's going on? Are we even recording? Oh, I'm live. Oh my gosh. Let me fix my hair here. Put my headphones on. How you guys doing today? I hope you guys having a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you guys are. I'm happy to have you guys here. And so this is the Tuesday night stream where we build a project live for your portfolio, for you guys to be able to get a job. Mostly it's me messing up and the reason why I put these streams live is because I want to show you guys that at the end of the day, building something from scratch is hard, but that's okay. You got to put in the time, put in the work, but that's what you guys got to do. You got to go through the steps of actually practicing building the project live. So if you guys could hear me, if you guys could see me, let me know in the comments to make sure that my audio is working, and then we'll go from there. But I'll show you where I'm at, and of course, making sure that you guys enjoy the stream too. And the reason why I say this is because, like, whenever you guys join me here, I want to make sure that you guys ask questions. I'm here not just to kind of show you what I'm doing, but to answer questions that you guys might have. Because it's important to me that I'm not just having a one-way conversation, but I'm able to provide some sort of value to help you guys, get some benefit as well. But anyway, and a couple announcements before we continue. I had the amazing pleasure of being the first guest on John Smilga's, or aka known as Coding Addict, amazing YouTube channel. If you guys haven't seen it, go check out Coding Addict. His channel is phenomenal. I mean, he has way more viewers than I do. And this was the amazing part, is that he just recently had his first live, which was amazing. And he invited me to participate on it, and I was really honored to be on. It was like so awesome, so amazing. So if you haven't seen that stream, go to Coding Addict, check out the stream. I'm just so blessed and honored to have had the chance and opportunity. I think we had so much fun that he asked me to come on the rest of them, which I think will be awesome. There was a lot of great value, and what I like about our streams is that obviously, John is awesome. He's changed many lives. But what I like is to have that contrast between someone who is John's caliber and someone like me who just recently, fairly recently broke into the field, got a job. So I'm still in the trenches, still trying to make my way through this development. And I started from nothing. I don't have a college degree, and I learned basically self-taught developer. A lot of struggle, by the way, a lot of failure on the way before I got my first job, but I eventually got the job. And I think it's awesome to have a conversation with someone like me who's in the trenches and someone like John who has way more experience than I do. And I think it was amazing. So we have Horace here. Hi, what's up? Good to see you. We have Andrew Ladd here. Great to see you again. Sounds good. Thank you so much. So in this stream, we're going to be working through the project again. And a lot of these coding streams, I don't get too many people to watch, which is okay. But the reason why I do it is because I want to show you guys, if you're consistent building something, you will eventually finish a project for your portfolio. And the reason why I say this is because when I first started out, I would start projects and then I would never finish them. So if you look at my GitHub, you will see that I have like a graveyard of unfinished portfolio projects. And I decided to do this live stream because if you saw the first episode where we started with nothing, now we have something. And the goal is continue to build the project, continue to every Tuesday, come on, talk to you about it. You guys will see the progress that we're making. And the lesson here is that if you pick one thing that you want to build and you stay consistent with it over time and you don't do anything else, you will eventually build it. So for those of you who are new joining us in, welcome. And if you're not sure what we're building, I'm going to give you a quick overview. And so one thing I learned is that a lot of times when we start coding, we just usually start coding in our VS Code editor, whatever editor you guys choose. And a lot of times we try to solve the issue with code, but the thing that I've learned is you actually have to plan something. You kind of have to know what you're trying to do. So before I even started coding, what I did is I created this basic kind of like, what's the most minimal viable thing that if I were to complete, bring it to the market. And I say the most minimal viable thing that I could build is because I don't want to add so many features that I get discouraged from building my application. So let me show you kind of what we started with originally in the first podcast. Let me share my screen here. Oh yeah, so we started here. we started here. So I created this basic kind of document, and again, I just quickly wrote it, and it's like things our app should be able to do. You know, display portfolios or projects of people. You should see their avatar, have an upvote button that if you click upvote, it will upvote. You should have different pages, and that's where we use React Router. We have a create login page. We have authentication. Only authenticated users should be able to upvote. Then we have ability to add comments, and you should be able to comment on the portfolio that you're looking, and only authenticated users could leave comments. And with that being said, the data structures that we need in our backend, we should have something for likes, something that we're going to store in the database, something for our users, meaning you guys who are signing up, and for our portfolios or projects that you guys adding, and then a place to store comments. So that's 4 items in a database to store our comments, portfolio, object, and users. So I kind of figured that out ahead of time, like what do I want to have in my project as the data, and then I created a quick mock-up. So I was like, okay, first page should at least show something that looks like this, where you have a project, you could see who created that project, you could see, you know, an image, you see the user's avatar, and if you click the details button, it will take you to the details page, which will have basic information about the user and have more information about the project and have ability to leave comments. And then if you're not logged in, right, if you try to like or you try to leave a comment, if you're not logged in, it's going to ask you to log in, because I only want people to comment who are logged in and who are authenticated. And before showing you the project locally, let me show you what I did so far. And you could actually go to community1project.com, and this is kind of what I built so far. So currently, if I log out, right, you basically able to see the different projects that we have. You could click the details, and when you go to the details, you're able to see, you know, the user who posted a project, their LinkedIn, their GitHub. I put my YouTube channel here because it's me, and then you could put your portfolio site. So this is, you know, if you click a button, it'll actually work. It'll actually take you to where you need to go. So this is basic information of the user, the developer who created this project. By the way, you could also see the live demo of the project example, and you could also go and see GitHub and kind of see the code, like what they did. So it's basically a quick view, at least for me, to share my projects, and for anybody who wants to have one place where they could post their projects, get a basic bio for you and basic information about the project, and quick, easy to see. So the feature that so far we implemented is this ability to like. So if I try to like, by the way, if I'm not logged in, it's gonna ask me to log in. And I always forget my password here. I think it's this super secret password. And once I logged in, notice I'm logged in, it'll show the likes that I have. So we already implemented the like feature, so I could like unlike or like. So this works, and all this gets stored in a database. And I'll tell you kind of what I use for my backend, because when you're just starting out, the most important part is try not to overwhelm yourself. So I'm using something called Strapi for the backend, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you go to details section here, now that I'm logged in, I'm able to go to my dashboard, and I'm able to add my project here. So if I click create project, it will basically create a new entry of the project. So we have that done. We have the ability to, you know, if we're logged in, we see this menu here, our dashboard. If we log out, this is going to disappear. By the way, if you logged in, you have this ability to send a comment. Currently, this is not connected. This is what we're going to focus on today, connecting, at least being able to pull the comments, and maybe we'll get as far as actually sending the comment. But notice when I log out, notice how it disappears. And now for me to leave a comment, what I need to do, I have to click login, and we're using React Router to be able to redirect. So let me go ahead, log in again, and this is actually live, so you guys could check it out. And I'm kind of just giving you a quick overview, and if you guys have comments about anything, let me know. And I see Techno Utopia, thank you so much for joining us here. And he says there was a great live stream yesterday with John Smilga. Yeah, that guy is so awesome. I'm just so happy and so blessed that and honored to be invited on his, you know, podcast. I think we have a pretty good dynamic, so we're going to do a lot more of those. They're going to be on Coding Addicts channel every Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and it was fantastic. Serge agrees. Hi, I agree about yesterday's stream. Already added to my calendar. Man, you guys are awesome. The love that I've been getting is, and the comments, like, you know, everybody, you know, obviously loves John, but I'm like this new guy on YouTube just talking about my journey, making through the kind of like what I did to get my first job, and kind of hopefully what I'm doing here is helpful as well. Oh, thank you. You're awesome too, bro. I really appreciate it. And I think that's kind of like, you know, what John, you know, said to me. He's like, I really like your authentic approach. You're literally just talking about how you did it, the obstacles you had. And he says, at least that's what he told me. He's like, look, there's a lot of that missing online, is that a lot of people are talking about lots of different stuff, but not anybody really talking honestly about the struggle, the work that it takes to get to where we need to go. So let me check this out here. So yeah, so anyway, let me know if the stream is working fine. My computer is sometimes complaining. I don't know why it's complaining sometimes, but it looks good so far. So let me know if there's any issue. But we're gonna continue talking about our project. So we implemented all that great stuff. So now we're gonna focus on building this section that I already built, but I want to walk you through the steps, kind of like my thought process. Let's say you've never built something like this with CSS. Let's say you're like trying to figure out. So first of all, I'll walk you through how I got an idea to add this component, the steps that I took. Man, Luke is always awesome. Isn't Paul the best? You guys are the best. If you guys have a special like button, not because, you know, you're watching some dude talk on the internet, but because you want to really, you know, spread the love. And by the way, listen, I would never be here unless it was for you guys watching the show. So if anybody who should be thanked the most is you guys, because you're guys, the community that comes here, leaves comments and chats with us. You guys are the #1 reason why I'm even able to talk here online, and you give me so much motivation. Like, I really appreciate it. So smash the like button just for the fact that you guys are here and you guys are watching and, you know, some random dude talk about stuff. So anyway, this is the project that we have. So let me kind of walk you through the process. So let's say that you want to build your project. How do you start? It's actually really hard. I forgot that I said I was going to show you the backend for the application and why I did not build anything from scratch. So let me actually do that first before I talk about that other stuff. So I use Strapi. Strapi is like a really good way and fast, easy way to set up an API. So basically what this does, once you set it up, and you could read the documentation, when you go there, you know, get started, and I'll show you the docs, how to do it. It's very easy. And this basically will create a backend for you, which will have this type of UI on the backend where you could literally add the data that you need. So far, I've added one comment here. We have our likes, you know, for our projects. We have our projects, our users. So this allows you to easily, while you're building out your backend, to have a UI to be able to add stuff very easily here. Now, the goal for us, not for you as users to be able to log in here. I mean, you can, but we're going to add all the functionality from our front end. It's going to be all from our front end application that we're building here. But at least when you're starting out, you have that on the back end. So it makes it a lot easier for you to get started. And by the way, Joanna, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, I do have that project playlist on the YouTube channel. For some reason, YouTube might have deleted some of the first episodes, but I'll show you. If you go to my channel, you could find this. It's going to be right after featured videos, how to build a web development project, and it'll have all the latest up. I can't scroll. What am I doing? The people that are on your... I'm watching my own stream on my own stream. That's ridiculous. But you'll be able to see the stuff here. So anything that how to build a web development portfolio project, it's the playlist for everything we're doing here. So if you did miss something, you could always go back. You could always check it out. You could always ask me questions to review anything that, you know, I missed or you guys have questions about. So this is Strapi. This is built underneath, I believe, with Express and NodeJS. You could also use GraphQL with it by getting the GraphQL plugin. So if you're familiar with REST API, which you could do here too, but you could download this GraphQL plugin and it'll literally connect this to GraphQL and give you this type of playground. If you're not sure what GraphQL is, no worries. Ask me questions. I will kind of tell you how it works, but in the most basic sense, GraphQL gives you one endpoint that you write either mutations or queries to, and you're able to get data that normally in REST API you would have to make 2 calls. Like for instance, let me show you an example here. like for instance, like we have this project query, and you basically, looks like JSON. It's not JSON. It's a GraphQL specific query language. That's why there's no commas here, because they're not required. But when I hit play, it will fetch the data here. And in a more traditional API here, the likes, right, and the projects, there might be two separate endpoints. You might have to go to the name of your, let's say, URL/projects to get the projects, but when you wanted to get the likes, you would have to go to another endpoint, your URL name/likes, and you would get the likes, and then you pull those two things separately to be able to display the data. With GraphQL, none of that. You just write one request and you ask what you want. I want the projects, and I want to get the likes for that project. And that's exactly what this returns, and it returns it in a nice looking JSON format. And why I like GraphQL, the query by design looks exactly like what you're going to get back via JSON, so it makes it really easy to know what you're getting back. And I'll show you an example here that I wrote, and we're going to talk about this during this stream, but I basically wrote this query to get the comments by ID of the project. So I said return all the comments where the project ID is the ID that I passed. So I pass this ID, I click play, and it returns all the comments for that project that we're going to show up on our front end in just a moment. But before we do that, let's continue talking about where we are. So whenever you're starting a project, the biggest challenge is building something from scratch, and sometimes you might not know how to build a thing that you want to build, right? And so when you're building something, like, you don't be shy to look around, try to find something, and try to like test build it. I'll show you the exact process that I do. So I was like, oh man, I need to make a comment section on my application. Like, I need to have this section like this that displays comments. And Techno Utopia, great questions. Have you ever used storybooks for your projects? Not at the moment. At some point I'm going to. I just don't want to add too many different things to my project, because like I don't want to get too bogged down by doing something that's just gonna slow me down and actually building out. So my goal for this project is to build the functionality as quickly as possible, then come back and refactor everything, because I want to bring it, you know, the functionality of it as quickly as I can. Excuse me. And that's the goal for this. And the tech that we're using, for those of you who are wondering, we're using React on the front end. I'm using Bootstrap 5 to basically mock all this stuff out quickly. And I'm also using React Bootstrap components, which is basically React components that have Bootstrap styling. I started using styled components, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. I decided to do that. And also, we're using obviously JavaScript. We're using, on the front end, we're using React Router, which is routing for React, which basically allows me to, you know, route to different pages, like to go to the home page, go to the detail page. And for state management, because we don't really need a lot of it because we're using GraphQL, I'm just using contacts to store my user. And I'll show you all of this in the code. For our backend, we're using Strapi because it's awesome. It's very easy to set up. And for our database, we're using Postgresql. And to allow our backend talk to the front end, everything is connected with GraphQL. And we're using, on the front end, we're using Apollo server. And if you want to read more about it, you could always you know, Google Apollo server. I'm sorry, server is at the back end. We're actually using Apollo client on the front end, so I lied to you. You could go to Apollo client, and it kind of shows you exactly how to set it up. And a lot of the steps, like when I get lost, I come back and I read this documentation to kind of see what's up, what's going on. And so that's kind of like the process that I follow. But coming back to this idea, like I don't know how to build something, so what I do. So there's this amazing site, let me back up here, called ThemeForest. So I usually go to ThemeForest, and I already pulled up the example, but let me kind of back out of it, go back. I go to ThemeForest, and like I'm building kind of like a dashboard application. So I would just do dashboard in HTML or whatever, and then a bunch of stuff will come up, and I'll just kind of browse through it, and I'm like, oh, what looks cool? Like this looks kind of awesome. I'll click on that. I click
live preview, and then you're actually able to come in here and you're able to preview a project that somebody already built, and you're like, okay, how do I write messages? And you know, you look at, okay, they have a chat, and by the way, look at this, looks fairly familiar to my implementation here. Like if you look at my app here, you see that this, and I kind of stole the image from there, and that's by design because I want to show you that's kind of like what I do. You could see that this chat looks similar to what I did, and so what I did is I went to CodePen, and before doing that, I'm like, okay, how did they do that? Let me see. And sorry that my screen is like all jacked up here. Let me make this smaller so it kind of fits fairly somewhat. And I would literally expect elements. I'm like, oh, how did they do this? Okay, they have a, you know, let me shrink this. I'm like, oh, they have a container that stores all the, you know, all the stuff in here. Let's see, what is this? And I kind of break it down, and I know it's kind of hard to see on my screen, but I basically deconstruct what they did. You know, I inspect all the elements. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how they did this. And then what I do is in CodePen, I go and I recreate that component you guys see here, and I'm kind of skipping a step. The first thing I did is I recreated this with HTML and CSS. So I basically created this component which basically had HTML and CSS, and then I'm like, you know what, I need to use it in React, so let me create it with React. And this is what I did. And something that I mentioned earlier in the video, I started using style components, and the reason why, and regardless how you feel, I like style components because all your styling, notice all this styling here, it lives inside your JavaScript component, so it's not a CSS file. So if you wanted to add this, let's say, to your application, regardless what styles you guys have, when you copy this code, right, that I wrote here, our message React component, and I'll walk through it in detail in a little bit, you'll be able to just plug it into your app and you'll have the styling that I chose here. And what's cool about style components is that you could pass props that will allow you to change certain colors. So for me, instead of, you know, writing the CSS and moving the CSS and then like whatever, I just like the fact that style components, everything's prepackaged. So after I did this in CodePen and I went to my project here, I literally just copied everything exactly like I had it in CodePen for the most part. And because the styling is included inside the JavaScript, so if we scroll here, notice here I'm actually calling styled from styled components that I got, and I create a div and I put all my CSS in there, and then I wrap that, I wrap my component that I want in that styled component, and that magically takes all the styling and propagates it to my component. And so I like it. Some people don't like it. Some people want to stay to traditional CSS, but I like that. If you're confused about any of this stuff, let me know what's up. And anyway, let me say hello. We have Hologram Nunchucks. What's up, all? Hey, how you doing? I was literally looking up for the comparison of CSS modules and style components yesterday. Good timing. And then, yeah, and CSS projects. What's up, all? I was about to get checked. Yeah, so listen, you could use CSS modules is great. For React, I really like style components because they allow you to do, let me show you another example what it allows you to do. And in my opinion, it's way better flexibility, even more so than styled components, at least for me. And honestly, I'll be biased. The last job I had, we used styled components fairly regularly. Tech Rally doesn't like style components. He says because style component sucks. You know, you say tomato, I say tomato. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. Listen, if it allows me to develop faster and reuse these components from wherever projects I want easier, then it doesn't really suck. You know what I'm saying? But no, listen. Truth time right now. Truth time right now. Guys, you need to know CSS. You should be familiar with Sass, and you should be familiar with CSS modules, and you should be familiar with style components, because you might work at a company which uses only CSS modules. Some people will use modules and Sass, and somebody like at a company you use style components, so you need to learn the thing that you're going to get paid for. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth bomb right there. But for me, like I said, it's the easiest way to plop something that I created in CodePen with pre-existing styles. It's so easy for me to throw it into my application. Here, I just copy the code exactly and it will just work because your styling, and I realized I didn't share my screen. Let me back up here. I do that a lot. What I was saying is that it's very easy for me to take something that I create in CodePen with style components, plop it into my application, and it's just going to work. And the reason for that is because the styles, when you use the style components, it's, what's that word? Contained to that component that you built, enclosed in that container that you built. So it makes it very easy for me. And so, yeah, that's true, Tech Rally. If you don't know how to use CSS and Sass, style components will be hard to learn. Yes, and it's true. But let me show you another example in CodePen with style components, guys, before we jump into more. And by the way, if you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button for you, all the beautiful people that are joining, commenting. I love all of you guys and the fact that you come here every time, even though these streams are crazy and out of control. And half the time, like I just crash and burn real hard. So anyway, what I was going to say, let me go here. So I created this other component and kind of was talking about, you know, if you don't know how to build something, find the thing that you want to build. I'll show you an example here. And this is not anything particular, but this is another benefit for styled components. Check this out. So these are differently styled components that come from differently styled components that come from style components. I was actually going to say that in the sentence. That's like ridiculous. So basically, I have all my style here. What style components allow you to do, you see, I could call these functions and I could pass props into my styles, breaking stuff here, and I could literally define the colors and whatever functionality I want on the go very easily, and so much easier than, let's say, CSS modules, at least in my opinion. And I'll show you what I mean. So here's all the different search components that I have. So, right, if I wanted to add a new one here, I'll just copy and paste this one. Right, I click it here, I put it in, boom. All of a sudden we have another, let this refresh. Look, another one here. I don't really like that color. What color should the background be? Let's make it pink because everybody loves pink, right? So once it refreshes, look at that. It's pink. Man, that already looks awesome, but I'm not sure why the text is green. That's kind of stupid. So what color should we make the text? Let's make it yellow. That will definitely not work, but I just want to show you that, look, like now when I type my text, that's yellow. Look at the flexibility here. And, you know, find hotels. I don't want to find hotels. I want to find pizza. Look at this. I just passed that inside here. And now it's going to say for my placeholder, find pizza. Ugly orange. I don't like that orange color. We need black. Black, pink. Black and pink makes sense. So I'm going to pass that in. Look at that. That's black. I can't really see that ugly orange against that pink background. Let's make it black. Again, also, you know, and it's very easy to share components and just through props change the styling. You could obviously theme it as well, but we want a border. So I remove that no border thing and boom, we have an ugly yellow border, and the border is going to be the color of the placement. Wait, I don't remember if I added a prop to change the border. But by the way, if you're not sure how to do this, don't worry about it. I just want to give you a quick thing here. So let's see, these are like the props that I'm passing. Background, so no border. So I didn't pass a border color, but just as easily I could add it. But anyway, I don't want to spend time here. Let me go back here, do no border. I just want to show you the reason why I like style components is because it allows me to do stuff like this. And so you could literally copy paste this code and have the styles without having to write them into your style sheet. So anyway, if you guys have any more questions about it, let me know. But we're going to continue this idea. So let me go back to the thing here. So whenever you guys try to learn a new component, literally build it out in CodePen first, you know, and then import it into your project. So that's exactly what I did. I imported that into my component here. So there's so many places we could start, but I do want to talk about kind of at least showing you how to use GraphQL to be able to pull our messages from our backend and to display them on the screen. But you know, we'll talk about it in a second. Let me just look if anybody has any questions, comments, or complaints. You guys are more than welcome to complain as always. I love all interaction, but usually the more productive one is better. And let me know, guys, by the way, how many of you guys have projects that you completed for your portfolio? And let me know if you having trouble building your portfolio, because I want to hear about this, because this is the whole point of this live stream, is to kind of encourage you guys to build your own thing. And I'm kind of taking you on this journey of me suffering through my own building process and getting stuck. So with that being said, yes, if you guys, you know, have questions, let me know. I'm here for you guys. If you don't have questions, that's perfectly fine. But we're gonna keep going through here, keep going through here. So now let's take a look at the project here. So in today's stream, I showed you how I created this in CodePen, and then I literally just copied that code from CodePen into my application. So let's take a look at this component and see what it does so far. Like, what does it do so far? And let's look at it in code. And that's found on our detailed page. So let me go to my pages. We have our detailed page, so we could take a look at our detailed page first. And I'm gonna kind of just show the outline here. Let me know if this is too big or too small. So basically what I did, let me scroll down. So I created a component called message card, and this message card is basically, let me actually switch this so it's easier for me to do stuff here. So this message card is actually this right here. It's this whole box. I don't have React tools on this browser. What an idiot I am. But that's basically the card. If we go inside the card, let's see what the card has inside. Okay, go to my card. I said go to the definition. No definition found. Why are you calling me a liar? If, you know, sometimes VS Code just doesn't like you. So I go to components. We're talking about the message card component. So let's go to our message card component here. Here's our message card component. What does the message card component do? So this is where we actually handle the logic of loading the data. For now, I have the data hard-coded here. This is the data of comments. We have ID, username, user avatar. And so for today's project, the goal is, instead of using this hard-coded data that we're passing into our messages to display the data, we actually want to get it from their API. So we're going to do that. J.R. Bugs, hey, welcome so much. Thank you for subscribing. New subscriber from last night's stream with John. I'll be more prepared next time stream with help on the side projects. Yo, don't worry about it. I'm just glad to have you here. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen that stream I did with John Smilga, it was phenomenal. I am so honored and blessed to even have the chance to share video space with him. By the way, we're gonna do that live stream every Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. So if you missed the last one, don't worry, you guys are gonna be able to get this one. So let's come back to the code here again. So right now we have this data hard-coded of users, and we're passing it to the message component here. So let's take a look at the message component here. Go to the definition. This is gonna work. No definition found. What is going on with my VS Code? How is there no definition found? This is right here. So we go to our message component right here. And I have my CSS right here because I'm using style components, but let's not worry about that. So our message component basically returns this, which is our avatar. I skipped a step. Let me go back. It's messages. This is yep, here we go. It's messages first. So what we're doing, we're passing our data into messages. We're getting our data. We're using array.map method. We're getting each individual message, and we are passing it into our message component, which is responsible basically taking all that data and creating the HTML for it. So let's go to message here, and basically it's super easy. We get our div. Inside that div we have our author, text and date, and we have our avatar image, and this is basically what you see. We have our avatar, author, message, and date, and that's exactly where that's coming from. So now let's figure out how can we get the, and thanks. And I'm gonna say Africa via, but I can't pronounce names, like whatever. But anyway, it was great. The stream was great. Thank you so much. I'm glad that somehow you guys found this channel too. So I really appreciate all of you guys. And if you haven't smashed the like button for being so awesome, go ahead and smash that like button, because you guys truly are awesome. And again, if you have any questions about anything that we're doing, let me know. So that was the card. And if I'm moving too fast, let me know. I stopped drinking coffee at night. This is actually tea. But I'm more than happy to go through the details. So we're gonna go back messages. Okay, we looked at this. Okay, I gotta open more pages. I don't like this. I gotta go to details. Okay, we were looking at message card. Let's go to message card. Here we go. So this is our message card. So we looked at our messages. Basically, that's where we pass our data that right now is hard-coded here. You see the data hard-coded. We pass it to our messages component. That's responsible for looping through the data and displaying it to the screen. Now I have this message form, and then if you're basically we're checking here, if you're logged in, you should be able to see the message form, and I'll show you what I mean here. So right now you don't see the form. You don't see the ability to type your message here. You see here, it's checking, are you logged in? Are you a user? If you're not a user, it's gonna show this login button. And see, it shows the login button. As soon as I click login, it's gonna take me to login page. I'm gonna log in. Once I log in, don't save my password. Once I logged in here, notice we go back to the details page. Notice now you could see the form and you could send the data. So when we go here, we have our message form that's responsible. Now, the reason why I have this callback and I'm passing this function called send message, and right now it doesn't have anything in it, but why I'm using a callback because I don't know what kind of logic you guys are going to implement to fetch data. It could be using, you know, fetch, right? It could be using fetch, right, to get the data. In our case, you're going to be using GraphQL. So I made this function that I'm passing as a callback, and basically the form has its state locally, and we just get back the thing that we need. We want to send this data. So we're passing that function to our message form. Let's go to our message form so we could kind of see. So again, I have my styled styles. Basically, same way you write CSS and Sass, you just write it inside your JavaScript file, perfectly fine. And here we have local state that's local to that form component. So basically, we getting the message, we're using set message to set the message. And the way we're doing it, we are basically calling on change, and we set the message using e.target.value that basically takes whatever we type in this component here, and it'll save it to our set to our state here via set message. So if I console log message right now, you'll see when I type, you see it post here from input. You'll see it post here. So let's go here. So you can see that this component is functional, it's just not saving the data. Yeah, someone, the Techno Utopia says he wants me to teach everything in Russian, and he says "пожалуйста," which means please. So he's being really, really polite. Yeah, that'll be hilarious, except then I'll have no views. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to hold on to my few people that watch the stream. I appreciate all of you guys. Lots of love to you guys, but it's phenomenal. So Norris, let me go inspect element here and open it here, go to console. So now look, when I start typing stuff, you see it's coming from the input, And by the way, remember where I showed you we have this handle submit function, and what it does, it basically will take whatever we saved in our state, and we'll pass it to that callback function. So I'm able to pass the state up. So in React, you're usually passing state down via prop drilling or passing props down. But if you want to pass something up, right, you want to go that way, you do it through callback functions. So what I'm doing here, I pass this callback function, I'm making on submit call that callback, and that's how I'm able to get that back right here because of my callback. So I'm passing state up, which is the only way to do it in React without using, like, of course you could use Redux or Context API, but in this case a much simpler way is use a callback function. And the reason, like I was saying, I was using the callback function here to pass is because this way you could implement whatever way you want to send the data, either with you know, GraphQL or using REST or whatever you want. So in this case, let's test that it works. By the way, if this works, I should see the message that I typed, and we want to send this data. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. So I'm going to type my message. You guys, wait, what am I typing my message? I got to type my message in the goddamn form. You got five. What am I saying? Guys are awesome. And then when I click send, bam, you guys are awesome. Send this data. And that's coming from our callback function, which is amazing. So now what I could do is I could move on to creating the data that we're going to send. So there's going to be a lot of moving steps here. So I know we were saying let's figure out how to get the data. Let's do get data first because it's much simpler. And if we have time, we'll do send data. But right now, you know, we know that it works. So all I have to do is pass my implementation, whatever function I want here that will handle that, and it's going to work, which is fantastic. It works. Boom. So let me go to, you know, everybody's enjoying the stream. Everybody thinks I'm funny. Lol. Everybody thinks, yeah. Anyway, sometimes I'm funny. Sometimes I'm sad. But yeah. Anyway, I love that you guys like commenting and just participating. This is awesome. If any time you guys feeling like I'm not making sense, the truth is I might actually not be making sense. So I'm always willing to have a conversation, try to clarify things. And also, yeah, sometimes maybe I do make sense, but let's talk about this. So, okay, guys. So whenever you want to get data using GraphQL, the way you get it is by using a query. So let's kind of switch our gears here, and let's, instead of populating this data, your project's really great. Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate all the love I'm getting. I can never, listen, I love you guys so much because like every time I'm always like so happy when I see you guys commenting, talking, because my goal is to build a community of people that want to get stuff done. They want to build the projects. They want to actually do the work, not just talking about it, which all of you guys I know do, and make stuff happen, get the job, grow in our career, and always talking about building. And so I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You guys are super awesome. So, we want to display this data here. Right now, this is hard-coded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete the hard-coded data here, or at least comment it out. And now what's going to happen, it's going to break because it's going to say data is not defined, which makes sense because we want to pass data here and we don't have any data. So it's going to break it. So for now, I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to say it's an empty array. And so our application is going to magically work again, or not. It's going to magically work again, but we're not going to see any comments. So how do we get comments from our backend to our front end? So because using GraphQL, we have ability to query what we want. And so our API endpoint, if you guys use, let's say, whatchamacallit, Postman working with REST API, this is very similar, except it's particular to GraphQL. So right here, and I already gone ahead and wrote the query, but I'm going to kind of explain it to you what we're doing here. So I call this comments query, just so I kind of know what we're doing. And to be more specific, I'm going to call it, well, by project, or by project ID, or by project makes sense. Otherwise, it gets too long. And this is basically, that's what this query does. It gets the comments based on project ID. And so what I'm doing is looking into the comments query. This is already automatically done by our API, if you're using Strapi, and it provides you this handy documentation. It basically shows if you want to look up comments, you could, it basically will return all the comments, and it will show their ID, the time it was created, the time it was updated, the comment, the author, the project, and publish that. So I don't want to fetch all the comments, but for the sake of an example here, I'll show you that query. So if I wanted to get all the comments, and I don't even have to name it here, if you only have one comment, I would basically write a query, and if I'm not sure what it contains, I could click not that button, option space, we have publish that. Oh, what am I doing? We have run button. Yeah, we have an ID. We could get, let me go to the next line. We could get comment, and we could get the author who wrote it, and we could get the author's ID, first name, last name, right? And this is going to show all the comments. You only have one. Why is it complaining? Why is it complaining? I don't know why it's complaining. Let's just take a look here. Because I type as comment. I have an idea of type IDs required. Okay, it's not comment. We want to get all comments. There you go. So make it prettier. So now if I click enter, boom, we get all the comments. And because we only have one comment, we only get one comment. And on Strapi, I'm like, man, I don't want to waste too much time with the backend, but I want to add more comments. How could I do that? So I just go into my backend provided by Strapi, and I add a new comment. You guys rock. That's appropriate comment. It's gonna be left by Aria, and it's gonna be for this cocktail project. So if I save, I hit publish, boom, I got data in my backend, and now I'm able to go to my GraphQL, click play, and don't you know, we have another comment here. You guys rock by Aria. Last name awesome. I don't know why our users are so cool, but we have that information. So let's take a look at these comments before we move on forward and fetch our comments for a particular project that we're working on. But here we go in the comments. So CS Project says, those of you who know, he came in, like he always comes here, gives a lot of value. I learned so much from him through our conversations we had, but he's working on a project, and he ended up creating authentication with SQL and PHP. And I don't think that's bad, because the reason why I say I don't think it's bad is because I also know people do that with Firebase, because Firebase authentication is pretty good. And so you don't need to use, let's say, their database or whatever, but you could just use Firebase for authentication. Like for my project, I decided not to add any additional things, and so I just used the authentication that Strapi comes with. And he's saying he is having hard time creating a login system and comment section with Strapi and React. And bro, I will help you out. But the best place, and I'm assuming you're using REST API, so like this is, they're gonna show you exactly how to do it. If you go to their documentation, getting started, and you literally like somewhere here, I could have been smarter and just Googled the thing that I wanted to do. Google.com auth with Strapi, and I basically followed the same example, just the GraphQL like way. So it's actually not like if you don't know how to do it, it's going to be a little bit hard. But basically, if you want to create a user or log in, I think this is the first one that's for login. So there's an endpoint called auth local, where basically this is the endpoint you would use. And the only thing you need to do to log in is provide identifier. God damn it, I'm not sharing my goddamn screen, you moron, Paul. What's going on here? But anyway, if you want to create login with Strapi, I literally Googled authentication request with Strapi. This is the page that I'm sent to. And basically, if you already have users and you want to log in, you would pass an identifier and the password. And then when you submit that form through a React application, and it's going to return your JWT token, and that you could use to show that you're authenticated and do all that stuff. But then they show you how to do it here. So if I want to get authenticated user after I make a request, let's say to articles, I just pass a header with authorization. And that's basically what I'm doing, but I'm doing with GraphQL. It's a little bit different. And, and then it shows you eventually how to create users and all this other stuff. But the point is, I think it'll be better and easier from the standpoint of keeping everything in one app. So that's what I'm going to say. Let's come back to the comments for a second. Yeah, can I guide you? Send me an email and I could literally hop on a call with you and help you out. That'll be the easiest thing. Just because in this project I'm using GraphQL and it's a little bit different. Does putting yourself, Techno-Utopia, this is a great question. Does putting yourself in front of a live audience help you become better at problem solving? Or is it the same as talking out loud while coding? I think it's the same as talking out loud. To be honest, if anything, it's going to embarrass me more. But what I found out is that I don't let fear of embarrassment stop you. So one of the reasons why I decided to go live, because honestly, I know my code is going to be bad most of the time, because I might be doing things I'm not comfortable with and learning new things, but I don't mind. And what I want to do is I want to be able to get comfortable having the stress of live audience and get comfortable talking about what I'm doing and talking through the code, because it does help you. It allows you to kind of think through the code. Because now, for instance, and I'll show you as an example in a second, and it gives you more confidence. And talking to you guys, it's not quite the same way as talking to someone in an interview, but it gives me that ability and confidence to figure out and practice how to talk about the code better. So the short answer, yes, it does help. And even if you guys don't want to start a YouTube channel because it's hard work, you can, even if nobody's gonna see it, try to make some simple videos where you don't even, teach, but you just talk about your project. For instance, kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm showing you my project, and then I'm saying, this is the code, this is what it does, and it does help. And I hope that made sense. Jay says, I've used GraphQL once, but I appreciate how you don't assume we're familiar with the concept and take your time to explain the concepts to make following enjoyment, even though I don't remember. Hey, thank you so much. And sometimes I might gloss over stuff, so hit me up on it. I try to move as quickly as I can, but again, I'm using these technologies on this project because these are the same technologies I'm using at work. So I figured if I show you the stuff that I'm doing at work, it's going to be more helpful to you. Because here's the thing, I decided if I share the same stuff I do at work, it's already the stuff that I'm getting paid for. So if you're thinking about building a portfolio, why don't you build a portfolio based on the similar things or ideas? Maybe it's not using GraphQL, whatever, but whatever you decide to use for your stack. It could be PHP and Laravel, whatever it is, but the principles, getting data, working with authentication, having a database, creating the different views, that's all the stuff I'm doing at work and getting paid for. And Creative JC, thank you so much. You're killing it, man. Love the content. Man, I appreciate every one of you guys. Man, if I could smash the like button for you guys, you know what? YouTube needs to create this button where you could like your, comment section. You're like, oh, I love this guy. I would smash all of you guys. Smash like for you guys. And if you guys haven't smashed the like button either yet for this stream, smash the like button for this stream. That'll be phenomenal and amazing. By the way, let's move on. So, I talked so much. I'm like, where are we? So the goal here, we want to get data to pass to our messages here. And we're going to use Apollo client to get this. And so I know you guys are new, but the way it works, you get a query and you pass the query to fetch your data. And if you guys ever worked with Postman, the GraphQL playground, which is this right here that comes with your client server, allows you to do that. So I just showed you before we went on that other thing. This is a basic way to fetch comments. I don't want to fetch all the comments, so I created same kind of example, except we're checking. We want to get the comments where the project ID is equal to the project that we're going to. And basically, because I only have one project here, it's kind of hard to show. But the idea being, when I hit the details here, this is going to have an ID that's pertaining to this project. So we want to make sure we only get the comments for that project. If I have, actually, let me go to community. Wait, I already have it open in the other one. This is the project This one is already live. Did I close it? Did I close it? I did close it. Jesus Christ, I have too many browsers open. Community one project right here. This is live. You can actually go community one project, check it out. But notice how we have a bunch of different portfolios. So what we want to do, I would smash all you guys. Whatever you got, whatever floats your boat, guys. I'm willing to do that for my subscribers. So anyway, each project has a different ID. So when I click details page, I only want to get the comments for this particular project that we're getting based on the ID. If I go back and I click this has a different ID, then this should only get the comments for that ID. And that's basically what we are doing in this wonderful query of ours. I have too many goddamn things open. God damn it. Let me close some stuff because we've been here, we've done that, we looked at that. This is okay, we've seen this, we know what this is. I closed, wait, did I close? I closed the one that I didn't need to close. Why the hell did I close the one that I need not to close? That's just so annoying. So let me go open it again. Localhost. And I'm not sharing my screen. Jesus goddamn Christ. I didn't show much. I just showed how stupid I was and opened the wrong window. So we're going to go to localhost. No. I said localhost 1337 to our GraphQL playground. So anyway, I was talking about basically just like, yeah, I did show you some stuff here. Let me go back here. So I opened the actual site that's already live. You could actually check it out, that community one project, to see what we got so far. But notice we have all these different projects. They all have their different IDs. And so if I click here, we want to get all the comments for this particular project based off that project ID. Same thing here. If you go to this one, this is going to have a different project ID. So we want to get all the comments pertaining to this particular project. So that's what we're doing here in our GraphQL. We don't want to get all the comments. We only want to get the comments for that particular project. And so we only have one project here, right? If I go back, we have our one project here. And I know it from our Strapi instance. If I go to projects, I know that the ID is 36 for this project, which has two comments that we kind of created. So in my query, I'm basically querying a project with ID of 36. And if this looks tricky, basically this is a way for us to pass variables to our query rather than hard coding them. So I'm basically saying we're going to pass a variable called ID, and we want it this to be, basically it's going to be 36, and you guys are going to see more on that in a second. Let me go to Google just to kind of show you that a lot of times when I forget something, I just go to the documentation. You guys should see the screen now though. Like, I know the comments are kind of lagging behind. Do I still practice BJJ? Not at the moment. In 3 months, 4 months, I'm going to get back into it, but right now I am not. By the way, if you go to YouTube, this is hilarious. And you search BJJ and friends, you will find my jiu-jitsu channel that I used to do. Obviously, I have previews. I don't want a goddamn preview on my own live stream. But whatever. Like, you could find videos of me teaching jiu-jitsu. Like, some people don't believe me. They're like, Paul is lying. He doesn't do jiu-jitsu. That's me coding after 30. This is probably from 2019. This was from 2019, me teaching jiu-jitsu, throwing people around. So if you're interested, you can always check out the channel. I don't put any content to this channel anymore. I kind of said goodbye to this channel. That's why it only has 1.47k views and not doing as awesome as coding after 30, because my commitment is to coding after 30 100%. So let's get back to the work. So Google, we're gonna Google Paul, I can't spell, Apollo client query, just to kind of see what's up. And then it's going to take us to queries in their awesome documentation website. And this is what I'm saying. Start building stuff yourself, and start like, when you get stuck, looking at the documentation. Okay, so I'll come back to this in a second, because let me just answer these comments. So how many hours a day do you try to code, and how long are your breaks? I struggle with burnout, so I try to code like 130 minutes, then take 30-minute break. Yeah, I do the same thing. I try to go 2 hours strong, 2.5 hours, then take a 30-minute break, then come back. But the goal is you need to call like code a lot. And in the past, like, I don't know if I called a lot, but I use this Waka Time app. I think it's called Waka Time. And this is going to be embarrassing probably because past few days, I don't know. And when you use their free account, oh yeah, I forgot I reinstalled. I was going to show you the Waka Time app here that tracks your progress, but I remember my computer crashed, so I had to reinstall VS Code, and I forgot to connect this. But what this is going to do is going to track your time of how much you code. But ultimately, you know, I know it's easy to get burned out, like, but I would say code as much as you can. Like, whatever that is for you, code as much as you can. But that's it. CS Project, love this channel. Love you too, man. What state are you from? Originally, I'm from Russia, obviously. I was born in Moscow, but I grew up in Connecticut for most of my life. Lived in Norwalk, close to New York. There was a time I lived in Boston for a little bit, but most of the time I spent in Connecticut, and now I live in Austin, Texas. So here we are. We're going to write our first query. So if we want to get the data, what we want to import from Apollo client that I already have installed in my app is this guy here, and we're getting useQuery, which is a useQuery hook that allows us to fetch the data, and GraphQL allows us to write our query, put it in a const, and pass it to our useQuery hook. So let's go into the code, like switching here. So right now we're not getting anything. We have empty array. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to import the thing that we kind of did here. And the first thing we're going to do is you're going to set up our query, and the query is going to be the same thing we already know works. Why? Because we tested in our playground. Look, I click play, it works, it gets the data. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the working query. And this is why I like GraphQL. You could test the stuff out first, and if you're doing REST API, of course you do the same thing with Postman, but GraphQL is so amazing. It's beautiful. I go to my code example. Oh my God, I don't know what I had to drink. I'm burping all over the place. Sorry, guys. Anyway, am I sorry though? I don't know. And so now what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to paste my code. What happened? My screen just blew up. Oh, okay, never mind. So paste that query, and we want to. I'm just going to name it the same thing. Comments query by project. And then we're going to use that GQL thingy that we're going from the top, and we're going to put it in our string literals, template literals, and I'm just going to paste that code in here. And then I'm going to shift F, quad whatever for prettier things. So now we have our query. So this is what's going to basically tell GraphQL what to find. And basically it's going to look in the comments where project ID is the ID that we pass, and it's going to return to us ID, the comment, and the author. I know that in our code, we also want to return, oh, we don't see it now because I closed it. Let me go to the other one. How many screens can you have open all at one time? Too many. So we also have the date that the comment was posted. So I'm assuming that's going to be created at. So what I'm going to do is first test it to make sure my query here. So we get the author, and we want to get created at date. So if I click play, notice it returns our date when that post was created. So let me go ahead and add that in our React application. I'm gonna, because I always notoriously misspell stuff. Let me cut. Why are my fingers not clicking the right thing here? So go to our code. We're gonna add here, whatever. We're gonna add created at. So now when we fire off this query, we're going to get the ID, the comment, created at, the author, ID, first and name. So now before we do that, we have to take a look at this useQuery hook. Like, what the hell is it? How does it work? So I'm going to go to the trusty documentation. Like pretend Batman theme. Let's close this. That's useful. So now it says here, now we create a component. No, we're not creating dog component. But here's how you use the useQuery hook. You basically, useQuery hook will return to you the loading state, error, if there's any errors, will return the data. And all we have to do is pass our query name into our use query hook. So I'm literally going to copy and paste. And notice here they also show if loading, return loading, if error, return error. So I'm going to copy all this stuff to kind of, so I don't have to type. Look, I know this stuff, so and also I don't want to bore you guys watching me type when I don't have to. I can't even switch the screen. So because this is a hook, make sure that you guys call it inside your component, your functional component. So basically, let's walk through the logic, and let me do this here. Console log data. So when we have data, we want to take a look at it, right? Almost right, dog. They're confused. DAG, data. We want to see data. So basically, if we have, and I'm going to put from GraphQL. So instead of get dog, we're going to pass a comment query by projects that we already tested out. And in theory, what should happen now, if loading is going to show loading, if error is going to show error, and then if everything is good, we should be able to console log this. And let me kind of go here, inspect, response not successful. We're already getting an error. So that's interesting. Why are we already getting an error? And it's annoying. And this is what I'm talking about, like the live streams. Oh, yes, I know why we're getting the error. So let me tell you, because I'm an idiot. So this query here, there's a second argument that you want to pass. And notice how in our query, we're actually passing an ID. So the error is because we didn't pass an ID into our query. So what I need to do is I need to pass my variable inside here, so it actually knows what we want to get. I don't even know if I have access, so it'll be this. I think it's variables, and it's going to be, I believe, an object, and I believe it's data dot ID. So I see there's a couple issues. Number one, our message card doesn't have access to ID. So number one, we want to make sure that we pass it down into our message card with the, and I'm going to call it project ID so it's more interesting. So we don't have access to project ID. We have to pass it down. So for now, I'm going to do this. And I believe it's going to work like this. And if it doesn't, we'll come back and figure it out. But I think this should work. Should is the keyword. So that's fine. So now we got to go to our details component, and we got to pass the project ID to this message card. So let's go back to our details. So we're in our details here. Okay. Just scrolling down. It's been a minute. Message card, container. So wait, I'm already in details. What is going on? Oh no, here I'm not. All looks the same to me at this point. All looks the same to me. So VA, nice. That's cool, man. Yeah, it looks the same, but we should have our ID, get project by ID, blah 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 blah. Where's that ID at? Where's the ID coming from? Oh, it's coming from here, project ID. So I'm getting. So when you do React Router, guys, you're able to pass parameters in the URL. So let's look closer here. You probably like too zoomed out, but notice here we have the ID here. So let me go to the other one that we have here so you guys could see, because there's more items. So notice details ID 12 here. So and if you can't see it that well, sorry, I can't zoom in. If I go back and I click on another one, details, look, this has ID 9. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using a method or a hook provided by React Router called use params, and I'm getting access to that URL parameter that I'm passing in my URL, and that's where that project ID is coming from. So I'm going to take this project ID, well, it's actually from here, project ID. We're going to find our message card, and we're going to pass our project ID as project ID. We're passing our props down so we could get it into here. Now when we go to our message card, we have access to that project ID, and we're passing it into our variable through our comment query here. And in theory it should work. A lot of times I forget exactly how this is written, so it might be not working. But let's refresh. It says error forbidden. That's a different error. So let's check it out. Check it out, network. Why is it forbidden? We have, it gets 200, but it says forbidden. I don't know why, like, this browser makes no sense to me. I don't need, like, I need to go into Chrome. I mean, I like Firefox. It does some things better, but let me go and handle this issue here. Let me go pull up our local version of this. So error forbidden, and it's pretty zoomed in here. Let me zoom out here. Inspect, and sometimes this is what happens. You run into issues, and I don't know what the issue is. Like, what you thought I was a genius? If you thought I was genius, smash the like button. But honestly, I'm just a regular dude. We learn as we go. Let's refresh. It runs a bunch of stuff. It says forbidden. And why is it complaining? No, we're passing the ID. So this could be maybe a setting in Strapi. That makes no sense. Why would that make sense? That makes no sense at all, because it works on the playground. Look at this. Playground works. We get it. 36 ID. And why would it not work for any other reason? We will figure it out. It will be the mission of the stream to figure out. So error forbidden. Why? Why are you forbidding me to see my comments? I don't know, guys. If you guys have questions, okay, so let me clear my mind a bit before we come back to look at the mirror and look at that. I think you mentioned you use React at work. Have you ran into a lot of legacy code base using classes? I'm wondering if it makes sense with React 17 to invest in learn class components. So what I would say, learn React with functional components first, just so when you get a job and you're working on code that's using all that stuff, you'll be at least familiar with it. But at the same time, also go and review how to write class-based components, and create like 5 different class-based components and then refactor them into functional components. Because a lot of times at my old job, either leave the class-based component alone, or I would get sick and tired looking at it and I would refactor it to use functional components. But you should definitely start with functional components first and then go and review the old class-based components. Don't do class-based components first, because it's going to confuse the living crap out of you. That's my advice here. And so we're forbidden for some reason, which makes 0 sense for us, that we are forbidden, because it works perfectly fine there. And maybe because we're logged in. Let me try an experiment. Maybe because we're logged in, we're not allowed to, which makes no sense. But let's go here. Let's go to our application. I'm gonna log out and I'm gonna refresh. And notice we didn't get that forbidden. And basically the issue is the policy. So if we were logged in, like Strapi, like it won't give you anything. You have to specify the things that you want to return. So I only specified that we get the comments when we are not logged in, right? We have public access to it. And so if I look at console here right now, notice how we have our data, we have our comments and our data here. So we are getting the data. So the fix to this is super simple, because React allows you to control the permissions. So we go to settings. Why is it so tiny? Tiny. We go to our roles. So in public, look, we gave permission to allow us our comments to display in public, but my idiot self did not go into roles, into authenticated, and give permission for our comments to be able to do. And because we authenticated, I'm just gonna allow everybody to do everything. So now that we save, and then we go to our application and we log in first. Oh, this is the wrong application. Yeah, there's a bug that I have to fix on Netlify, but that's no big deal. Let's go to our React application, local host application. Guys, I'm working locally. Why you keep messing with me? Local host here, and we wanna log in. I'm gonna log in as myself. Apparently, I don't know my own password to log in as myself. So let's try again. Let's go log in. Coding after 30. Oh, I see. I can't spell. What? Guys, like if you find it funny that I create an account and then I forget my own password. Let me know if that's hilarious to you guys. I create an account. Yes, I remember my password, but smash a like if you think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that I keep mess up. And I actually let's finish this thought, then I'll take a look at the comments in the sections. But now notice that when we go to here, our application doesn't crash. It doesn't crash, thank God. And if we go to console log, we go to console log, and notice we are getting our data comments. We're getting our comments from our basically API. So we're making progress. So let's quickly display the comments. And I forgot to pass the avatar image that we could do in a second. But let's display the comments here, and then we'll go from there. And I get to Technos Utopia's question when we finish this, because we're already almost done. We're on the home stretch here, luckily. So we know we're getting the data. So what I'm going to do is destructure the comments from data that we're getting, because you know we're getting it. We're going to pass our comments to our messages, and it's still going to be broken because we have to map the stuff accordingly. But if we have comments, let's go to our message comments here. So this is going to break everything. So for now, what I'm going to do so it doesn't break, I'm going to put an extra div here. Nah, I know it's going to break, guys. Just trust me. I'm going to put this here. And then I'm going to, I called it message. I should probably rename it to comment. This is going to be comment. Actually, we're going to console log comment first, so we get the appropriate data. Console.log comment, just to see what it is. Summit comment, you moron. Yeah, comment. Let me comment this out. Saying comment a lot. And I believe there's another place we're in messages here, so we pass, and this should be comments. I should rename it. I called it messages because I wanted to make messages before, but then making messages, like real-time messages, is a lot harder. You have to use socket.io. So I decided for this first version, instead of super real-time chat, we're going to make comments here. And this is going to be comment. I'm just renaming stuff. And I guess I could rename the component comment too. But I'll do that off screen right now. I could have just left it alone. But I'm like, if you're making comments, name it comment. I think I might have broke stuff. Yes, I broke stuff. So where did we break? we broke undefined reading map. So comments, undefined, whatever we're passing into messages, this is undefined. So where are we passing it? We're from our details. Is that where we at? Message card. From message card, we're passing comments. Let me first kind of do this. So sometimes when you're not sure what goes on, just try to trace or figure out where is what. So let's do comments. Hello. I don't know how to spell hello. So we do have our comments here. So that works there. So we're passing our comments down into our messages. Oh, because I didn't rename this properly, comments. So let's undo this and let's take a look. I think it's because this was called messages and we expecting comments. So yeah, now it works. So let me go close this out. Not this one, this one. Remove this one. Let's go to our messages. So we're able to pass it through here. That works nice. We go to our message and we need this. So let's take a look. So we need this. This is the stuff that we have. So the first thing we need is the author. So we have author, that first name and last name. That's what we need. So let's destructure that. So we could go like this. We go const, and we want to get author, and from inside of the author, we want to get first name and last name. Correct. And this is if you want to, like, you could destructure like one thing, but you could do like nested destructuring like this. So you could just keep going down. So we want to destructure author, first name and last name. We want to get this from the comments. From the comment. And now we want to put our authors' names here. So let's do this const username, the name, I'm just going to call it name. And what we're going to do here, we're just going to concatenate. What a wonderful word to say on live stream. I'm going to concatenate this together. And we want last name. And what we're going to do, we don't want all of the last name. So we're just going to ask for the first item. You don't forget the $sign here. And then first name is going to be first name. Last name. And then we have this name here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncomment this for now. All the other stuff's going to break. But I'm just going to comment all that other stuff out so it doesn't bother us. We'll do it piece by piece, one time at a time. So in theory, when I pass name here, it should show our name. Moment of truth, guys. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think that's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to work? If you have a smash the like button, smash the like button. But honestly, let me know. What do you think is going to work? You think it's going to work? And I'll get to the comments in the last by Techno Utopia and Alexander. Thank you. Paul, I finally here during a live session. This is awesome. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being here. Awesome. But Tech Utopia, I'm going to get to you in just a moment because we're going to close this out by making a commit to a GitHub. And I'm going to show you kind of the path I do if you guys still here. And if you want to see it, smash the like button. Let me know. So undefined, well, at least we got the last name correct, but name is undefined. What do you guys think the name is undefined? Because this guy with these fingers, he can't spell or type. The biggest misconception, people are like, developers are smart. First name, I misspelled. First name, I misspelled. Okay, will it work now? Fingers crossed works. Now, like, yeah, if I typed it correctly, boom, we got Aria, we got Paul coming from our database. Let's get the rest of the stuff. So, by the way, we need to get an image for our avatar. So the avatar component that I created, it basically needs to have a source for the file that we want to get where the avatar is stored. So let's go ahead to our trusty old GraphQL playground and get it. I think it's going to be author, first name, last name, user type, avatar image. That's what we want to do. We want to get avatar image, and I think it's URL. So wait, what was that other URL they had? Oh, no. URL. That's what we need. And then if we click enter, notice we get our avatar image with the URL that we want. We want to make sure that we add this to our query in our code to make sure that we get that data. So let's go to our code. Yeah, I type all the time, JR bugs, all the time. And listen, the hours of bug fixing that I have to do because I'm an idiot is horrendous. So we need to go to our query here. Our query is in the details page, correct? Correct. Here's our query. No, is it in the details page? No, it's in our messages. No. Look, I forgot where we wrote that query. Here we go. Content query by project. It's inside our message card. That's where we're running this query. So to this query, we have to, within the author, because that's where it belongs to, we want to add avatar and get that image. And that's use the magic of the structuring. So notice how we destructured first name from author and last name. You see, we did it. Where did we do it? We did it inside messages. Inside message. So what the hell is it called? I already forgot. It was an image avatar. Yeah, it's called avatar image. We're gonna get avatar image, and what we want from here is the URL. So this is like a good way to, like when stuff is nested in a JSON file, this is a good way to destructure. And what we want to do is we want to pass that to our avatar component, and the avatar component is basically a component that makes that round picture. And then for alt, we'll put the name. For alt will be the name. Why not? Name. So let's check it out here. Go to our project. I have so many goddamn windows open. Bam! We're getting the avatar now. So let's get the rest of the data. And then we'll finish up here, and we'll save creating a comment for the next live stream. I think that makes sense. So we have, I think, let me look in our query here. What are we getting back? So we're getting comment, the actual message, and created at. So I think I could remember that. So this is going to be comment. I want to destructure that from here. It just saves on typing later. It's a personal preference with you guys. Oh, I already have comment. What happens when you have two matching things that you're destructuring? I believe you could do that and give it a new name. Comment text. And I believe that will fix it. So you could actually rename variables. So if I already use comment and I'm getting comment from here, I could rename it to something else and pass it. Let's check it out. Maybe it's not true. I think it's true. Let's reload. It's not true. Why is it not true? That should work. Maybe it doesn't work. Oh, I am trying to get the comment from inside author. No, comment doesn't live in author. Comment lives on its own thing. So we got the comment. And bam, you guys, my God, stop crashing. You guys rock. First comment ever. We're making progress. And lastly, let's add the final date. And that's created at. Probably misspelled it wrong. And we're going to pass our created at to our beautiful date here. And I think this is gonna look ridiculously ugly because you're not formatting the date, but I'm gonna take that for now, guys. I'm gonna take that for now. Oh my God, I hate that looks ugly as hell. So we'll fix it by using to local string for now, and then later. Is that the thing? Is that how you the thing that you type to local string to local string? Apparently it's not. When in doubt, what do you guys do? You go to Google, format date string format, and then you probably should add JavaScript. We add JavaScript here. We click how to format, blah 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 blah. Totally useless information. Oh, right here, to local string, to local string. I'm just gonna do it for time now, but eventually I'm gonna make it much nicer. So see, spelling is important, boys and girls. To local string, and let's call that bad boy. So now when we go back to our code here and we refresh everything, if it's still okay, I'm kind of confused. To local string is not a function, and I'm assuming the reason why is that the data that's stored inside the database is a string, so we need to take this string, convert it to a new date, and I'll eventually will clean this up. But for now, we're going to do it like that. So this comes back as a string. We want to take that string and convert it to a date object, because to local data string is a method that's in the date object. And now things don't crash. The date looks better. I'll keep it like this for now. And so we're done with at least the presentation of our comments. So let's talk about, let me jump back here. I get how git works, git add works, git commit, and git push, but I don't get how to work on my own branch and how to check out and merge branches. I'm going to show you kind of the way I do it, and I'm going to talk more about it as I do these streams, because it's very important. So let me kind of show you where we at. So Alexander, if you're here, let me know, but I'm also going to do it for everybody else. I hope that you stuck around. I hope you didn't leave. And then I'll talk about this stuff in just a second. I'll do one question at a time. So CS projects, I will get back to you in a bit. Let's start with Git. So let me go to my VS Code. So I am done here. So noise, it's going to be hard to see, guys. I apologize. So let me switch my screen here. So notice I'm working in the message function branch. So what I did, and right now it's going to break it, so I'm not going to mess with it, but I was in the master branch, correct? I was in the master branch. So before starting this feature, I went create new branch, and I called it message function branch. When I created it, it automatically switched me to this branch. What I did is I made all my changes in this branch. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to open the terminal here. And sorry that looks so weird. I'm going to type git add, and I'm going to add all. Then I'm going to type git status, and it's going to show all the files that I want to add, which is all the files here. Now I'm going to do git commit m for message and do edit message query. I'm going to save it. Boom. Once that's saved, you could do git push, or you could click this button here. It does the same thing in VS Code, but you could type git push. So what that does, it pushes my message function to my GitHub. So let me go to my GitHub. github.com. This is the community client project. That's what we're working on. And so now what you're going to see, so notice like I wasn't working in my master branch. I was working in my message function branch. And what you're gonna have, you're gonna see message function. That's the name of the branch that I was working on. See, message function. And what it says, you wanna compare and pull requests. So this is what you should do so you don't mess up stuff. You wanna check your code. So I click compare and pull, and I create a pull request and check, you know, code for message, you like component. I'm just too lazy to write appropriate messages, so I'll do this because usually you do this when you have other people on the team, but I follow the same steps even it's just me. So I sign it to myself. You see, now what I do is I create a pull request. So I didn't merge anything, I didn't do anything. And because when you create a pull request and it's deployed on Netlify, Netlify will first do a check to make sure that I don't have any errors. So this prevents me from merging broken code into my code base, which is super important. So what I'm going to do here now, before I agree to anything, I'm going to go to files change and I'm going to check him. See, it kind of shows like kind of stuff was before and this is the new stuff. So I'm kind of going to look at the code. Okay, so I commented out the data structure that we don't need. We added this query here, so that's good. I'm checking the code, make sure I don't have any final mistakes. Okay, so this looks good to me, so I'll say viewed. And then I move on to the next section. Okay, so probably should not have this console log, but for now I'm going to leave this in here, but just for the sake of the example. But normally, you know what? I'm not happy with it. I don't want to have console logs. So let's say you're not happy with the fact that you left console logs in there. Now you're able to come back here, and I'm going to search for all the console logs. I'm going to find the console log that I don't want. I don't need this console log because it looks bad when you have console logs in deployed apps when people, like, you don't want random people to see that. So I'm going to kind of return this and save. So I'm going to get rid of this because it'll say no unused variables here. I know it's going to break it, so I'm going to keep this the same way here. And I'm going to save those changes. So get add, get commit. I'm just going to do the same thing to the same thing. So for a second, so I get committed, I get push again, right? I push those changes, and then I go back to my GitHub and I refresh, and now it's going to show all the new changes. And then I could go over again here. So you're going to see it here. We're going to come going. So this looks good. Next one, you see the changes. Okay, this looks good. Okay, save this. So this looks good. Basically, I removed the console logs and all that stuff that I didn't need. So this looks good. So once you checked it, after you went through the PR request, right, you did it, go to check again here, make sure, because we just made some changes, it's going to fire this check again. So I don't merge anything until I pass this check from Netlify, because this is going to deploy to my live code base. And so I want to make sure, and Techno-Utopia, you don't have to pay for Netlify. They have a pretty good set of features that are free. Unless you're doing like production where you have like bajillion customers, you really don't have to pay. So notice that I have an error. Imagine if I didn't follow this step. Imagine if I just pushed the code into the master branch. The site that's live, and let's go there right now just so you could see. If I go to the live site here, which is our Community One project, if I didn't do this check, this would not be working right now. I would have pushed broken code with errors and it would break this. And this is why I say you guys need to do a PR request, even if it's just you. So now I could go to details and I could go, please check the log. It's going to open in Netlify and it's going to show the build log. And I'm sure the error is super stupid. So I have the error that we have here is that you shouldn't have any unused variables. You should delete them. So in message card JX file, we have in line 9, I believe, temp image that we're not using because we got rid of the hard-coded data. So what I'm going to do to my code, we know it was in message card. I believe it's line 7. Not line 7, line 9 right here. line 9. This is what broke it. We're not using it, so we don't need it. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and erase the fake data because we no longer need it either, because we connected it to our API. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and then I'm gonna do again git add the changes. So I just fixed the error. I'm gonna set fixed error, click enter. I'm gonna do git push. It's gonna push it up to the cloud. I'm going to go back. I'm gonna go back to my GitHub, and then we just push the error fix, so it's gonna rerun the check again with Netlify. And this is the beauty of using Netlify to accomplish this stuff, because you want to make sure you're not pushing broken stuff into your code, because especially if part of it is deployed, it's going to be really bad. So while it's running this check, yeah, it takes some time, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Because what I'm going to do in a little bit, I'm going to push these changes here. So notice, like right now we have fake data here. I'm going to push these changes to my main code, so I want to make sure that the changes are not broken. So while this is going on, let me take a look at the comments here. And if you haven't smashed the like button, I really appreciate what we do here. Smash the like button because it really helps everybody to discover my streams. So if your projects don't have great design, and I have the same problem too. A lot of times I'll use something like Bootstrap to at least add some sort of kind of unity to my project. And then I will also look at stuff like Theme Forest and find some good designs and do that. And that's kind of like what I would say. And so if you want to figure out how to create a great design, literally at the beginning, just copy other people's design. Go to Theme Forest, find something you like, and just recreate their UI. And, for the sake, since I'm like developing by myself, I use Bootstrap just to make it easier for me. And for custom components, like the message component that we did, I wrote it from scratch. That's fine, but at least with Bootstrap, it makes it easy to get started. So let's come back here. So notice how all the tests have passed. So now what I'm going to do is squash and merge, which will basically merge all the changes from our branch message function branch that we're working. And squash means it's going to delete like all the previous different messages, like added message here. It's just gonna be one clean branch here. So anyway, so I do this. I'm gonna delete the message function branch on GitHub because I don't need it. Now what I do is I go back to VS Code and I go git checkout master, because that's the branch that I just merged the working code. And then I like to do get fetch, which will fetch all the changes. And then you do git pull. Oh, mistypo. Git pull. And that's going to pull all the changes. And just to test it, I'm going to do npm run start and cross my fingers. Hope nothing bad happens. Click enter. Go back to our... Oh. The reason my thing has errors here is because I use M1 Mini, and it comes with the latest, greatest node, which is not the node that most people are using for production, so it breaks everything. So I'm going to switch to using the normal node that people use. Run npm run start. And I guess I have two terminals open. Let me open it. Oh, let me bring it in here. So this is our project. We go to details. Yeah, it's pushing the comments. So now, like, everything works. And we checked it already beforehand. Everything was working. But now the beauty here is that if you go to the community post here, this automatically was recompiled. So notice this is communityproject.com. This is the live application, and I pushed the changes that we did today together. and we pushed it to our live deployed site. So by working on a separate branch, by doing a pull request, by checking our code, fixing all the errors before pushing to master, I don't have to worry about breaking anything here. So if you go to details now, the reason it says error forbidden, because you have to understand we just worked on my local environment, and my local environment is running Strapi locally. This is the live application, and this live application is running Strapi on Heroku. So to make this work, not only do I have to give the permission like I did earlier, but I also have to add some comments because we don't have any. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'll go to my Heroku, and in my Heroku, I have my Strapi deployed. So my front end is deployed on Netlify. My backend application is deployed on Heroku. So I'm going to go to admin, and the first thing I'm going to do is log in, and God forbid I remember my password. Let me make this bigger. So I logged in. So the reason why, like Strapi, it gives you no access, so you have to allow it. Otherwise, you know, you don't want to have open access when your app starts, because people are going to see everything. So we go to settings, we go to roles, and we need to do it in public. We need to give, for public, people should be able to find comments. They should find one comment if you're searching for one particular account and get the number of counts. So we're going to save here. And then we also have to go into roles and authenticate it. And for authenticated, if you're an authenticated user, you should be able to do all these things. So we're going to save here. So now when we go to our community project, by the way, this should not crash the app, but we should not see any comments because we don't have any comments. So I hit details, latest comments. We don't have any comments. So let me go to our backend and let's add some comments. So I'm gonna add a comment. We did it. And I'm gonna add to a couple of different projects. Author, coding after 30, and we're gonna add it to basic HTML and save and hit published. Let's add another comment somewhere else to just check that it works somewhere else. Add comment. If you didn't smash the like button, smash the like button because you guys are awesome. But I'm not going to type that whole thing. I'm just going to say cool. All right. And then we're going to say I put that comment, and we're going to put it in COVID tracker and save and publish. And so now let's go to our live application. Let's go back home. So we added a comment, I believe, in this project. So notice we see the comment for this particular project, and this is coming from our backend. It's coming from our database. It's phenomenal. It's awesome. Now let's go back. I think we added a comment to detail. Nope, did not add here. Oops, went. I have to fix this bug with Netlify. It's annoying. I'm lazy about it. Where did I add that comment? I thought it was COVID tracker. Let me look. Comment. It is COVID tracker. Coding after 30. Comment. Publish. Maybe I have to refresh. So this comment works here. Okay. Oh, why am I refreshing like this? So stupid. So dumb. I gotta fix that bug. There's a bug when you deploy React with routing. It gets confused, so you have to add a little option in Netlify that I forget to do. So this works. We did it. We go back. COVID tracker. Okay, now it works. I had to refresh. So notice all of our comments now being dynamically generated or fetched from our API. So now what we're going to do for next stream, we are going to figure out how to get this to work, how to actually leave comments. But notice that based on the project, that's how we are able to get our comments. So that's awesome. I think that was amazing. And we did and had a lot of fun. So let's do some final questions, guys, if you guys have some. And let me know if you guys enjoyed the streams. I'm going to keep doing the stream no matter what. Like I said before, the reason why I do the stream, partly like to bring some entertainment, which also is educational. And hopefully you guys learning stuff. And most importantly, you see that building stuff on your own is not easy. It takes hard work. And you will crash and burn a lot. And sometimes I crash and burn less. Sometimes I crash and burn more. Today, I didn't crash and burn as much, which is fantastic. Less embarrassment for me. The next thing I want to show you, if you commit to one project and you do a little bit every day, you will move this project forward. If you watch the first stream we had, we didn't have any of this up. This is something that I built with you guys live on the stream. So if you're looking to build a project for your portfolio, you just need to start and you need to keep going. You need to keep going and do not switch to a different project until you finish this one. And this is why we have super simple features rather trying to do everything at once. So we wanted to be able to display the projects. We wanted to be able to get likes. We wanted to show the comments. And we wanted to add comments. So that's the final thing of our initial MVC for this particular project. And once I'm done, right, I met my requirements that I set here for myself. Right, I met these requirements, and once I'm done, I could either move on to another project, which I won't. I'm going to continue building this one, but at least it's feature complete on the features that we decided to build from the beginning. Right, you don't want to do a project and not have it finished. And the good news, this feature is almost done. We just have to make sure we could leave comments, and then we could decide what is the next feature to add to this project. And so I hope that you guys are motivated by watching the stream. I hope it's very helpful to you to allow you to build those projects, because at the end of the day, you need to have good projects that showcase that you know how to code. And you should make some videos on YouTube, even if you don't have a YouTube channel, going over your project and talking about the code, to at least to practice how to talk about code, because that's what you're going to do in an interview. You're going to talk about your code. And then, you know, once you have 3 projects in your portfolio, you're now able to start focusing on getting interviews, practicing interviewing, and all this other stuff. So let's take a look at some comments. And if you have any final questions or final thoughts before we go, let me know. How hard is it connect project to Netlify? It's super easy. So I'll show you an example. So once you created a project in Netlify, in GitHub, once you put stuff in GitHub and you already have a Netlify account, which is free, you just say new site from Git, and you literally go GitHub. It will connect you through GitHub, and you search through whatever project you want to push. You select that project and you click deploy site. That's it, and you're done. And you're done. And they'll let you know if you have errors. But that's it. Those are the steps. Literally those 3 steps, and you are done. Yep. Dobry wieczór. Alejandro, man, love it. He said good evening. Hey, good evening or good morning to you, sir, depending where you live. Yeah, and like, you know, CS Bike said, it's super easy. If you know, I know it's very easy to get confused, but yeah, it's pretty easy. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so you're building an online, like your project is huge that you're building. And so you want to allow users to keep progress for all the progress that they're making on your online lesson platform. And yeah, and so what I would say, work one feature at a time. Figure out what feature is the most important one, kind of like I'm doing here. I'm not trying to do 10 things at once. I'm doing literally one thing at once. The features that I wanted to implement, like 3 things: likes and comments and being able to see the data. And that's what I'm doing. And so that'll say, how often do you stream and what time? So on Tuesday, I do this project code base stream, which is Tuesday, 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Central Time. So 7 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. I stream on Saturday, which is just like fun stream. I talk about what I learned and more. I just want to chat with you guys. That's Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then now I'm going to be streaming on Monday nights. It's 8 p.m. Pacific Time with John Smilga on his Coding Addict channel. So that's 3 live streams I'm going to do. 2 on mine channel and 1 on his. Nice. So I'm too lazy. I don't do those. I should start doing those. And for this one, I think I'm going to do for this one, because I want to lead by example, make sure you do things right. So Right now I'm still lazy because I want to at least code first, but it does help if you do a good README file. So I don't have one now. I'm glad that you're finding this really helpful. How to set up a YouTube channel, man. Yeah, just Google on YouTube how to set up a YouTube channel. There's so many tutorials, but that's like a whole other project on its own. And thanks so much, JB Payne. Love your streams. I'm learning a lot from this. I am so happy that these streams are useful to you guys, because the biggest fear I have is that the streams that I do, like, you guys don't like and you think they're garbage, which I hope that none of you guys feel. If you haven't smashed the like button because you think these streams are awesome and great, and I think you guys are awesome, I need a like button to like you guys. I need a like button for the people that participate in the comments. Smash the like buttons. Nice. +1 for enjoying the stream. Awesome. Where did you get that shirt? Очень крутого футболка. Nice. Yeah, I bought. This is hilarious. So this is the shirt. This is, by the way, XL. And you'd be like, you don't look that huge. Why is this an XL shirt? So I hate spending money on clothes. I still sometimes spend money on clothes, but I literally go to the store that has discount clothes, and I go to the kids section because it's cheaper. Not saying I do this all the time. The reason is not because I'm cheap, because I'm not. I will spend money if it makes sense. But the reason why I go to the kids section, like, or the teen section, is because they have the coolest shirts. Like, adult shirts, they're stupid. Like, there's no cool adult shirts. So I go buy extra large kids shirts and wear them. I don't do this for all of them. It's only for the shirt I see that's cool. I'm gonna show you. Like, this was a kick-ass shirt I got. Like, I just love the design. I really like when people like have cool designs. Like, black, red, and white is pretty awesome. I think are really good colors, and it's size large from kids section, or extra large from kids section, or whatever it is. But just because sometimes I buy clothes if they look cool. Like, I'm like, oh, that looks cool, I want it. And then it's like, oh, it's a teen shirt, or whatever, I'll take it. I also have normal clothes. Like, if I go to interviews, by the way, I don't dress like this. I have a nice suit. I wear a suit. Thanks, Techno Utopia. Haha, you're awesome. Really funny. Sometimes I'm funny. My fiance doesn't think I'm funny, which is, to me, it's funny in its own. And I smashed the like button already. Thank you, my man. Your knowledge and personality makes these awesome. Had to subscribe after last night. Thank you so much. And I probably have way more personality than skill. But at the same time, by doing these, it keeps me moving, keeps me learning. And I'm glad that you guys enjoy these. And I enjoy talking to you guys. So you guys are awesome. Man, I just can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for everybody who came. We have JR Bugs, Techno Utopia, CS Projects. We had JB Payne. So many of you guys. Alejandro. Like, everybody. How far can it? Alexander was here. Just so many of you guys. Tech Rally was here. Creative JC was here. All of these guys, just so many guys are here. And I can't scroll up anymore. Serge was here. I mean, the Hologram Nunchucks was here. Like, so many of you guys. Andrew Ladd was here. Horace was here. Man, like, thank you so much, because honestly, you guys are the building blocks of this community. If you guys didn't exist, I would not commit. You're the bridge that holds our community together, and I appreciate you guys so much. Like, thumbs up to all of you guys for everything you guys do, and I hope I continue to live up to your standards and provide the best valuable and entertaining content that I can. So that's fantastic. And to answer this last question before we go, what shows are you watching right now? To be honest, I don't watch a lot of stuff. I focus on coding. But when I do watch shows, here's the thing, like I don't like this idea of watching, I watch a lot of YouTube, but coding related. If that's the shows you're talking about, that's like, I just watch a lot of coding stuff. But when it comes to Netflix, when it comes to video games, when it comes to like stuff that's fun, I do not like to watch or play every day, or like play games every day. I love games. I have an Xbox, I have a PS4, and I have the Xbox S, or whatever the hell it is. I have my computer PC that I don't play games on it, because right now, like, I'll just use it for mining, which is terrible because I'm the problem why GPUs cards are so expensive. But if I want to play games, if I want to watch Netflix, what I do is I don't watch it every day. I literally binge watch. So like, for instance, the new episodes of, what the hell's that episodes with Robin? I'm so bad with remembering names. Good show, by the way. Titans with Robin and all this, like, whatever, superheroes. So instead of watching it an hour a day, what I'll do is at like 8 o'clock, I'll just start watching and I'll watch the whole season. So I'll stay up for 8-9 hours, but I make sure that I finish the season completely, get it out of my system, because I don't want to watch a little bit every day and get into a habit where I watch TV every day. I much rather work, and then on the weekends, just stay up late all night, play video games or binge watch shows, because during the week, I want to be productive. And this is crazy because some people say that's crazy, and it is crazy. But the truth is, I'm 41 years old. I got into this game late. I got hired at 39. So I want to make sure that I stay on top of my game and continue to learn. I will sell you a bunch of GPUs. Hold on. Where's that button? I will send you a bunch of GPUs. DevMental Live, by the way, has an awesome YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. Now, talk about knowledgeable developers. So if like I'm here, he's like right there off the charts somewhere. Really good guy. If you haven't checked out his channel, check it out. But he's selling a bunch of GPUs. If you want to get GPUs, because I'm good right now. I got one, which works for me. But what GPUs do you have? Actually, I'm curious now. So if you guys look to buy some GPUs, hit up DevMental Live. You know, he'll get you guys hooked up. Damn, son, Serge, I love you. My family is already jealous. I spend 3 evenings a week on Paul's stream. That is impressive. Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah, get busy living or get busy dying. It's all about priorities. Like, some people will look at me like, look, like, you don't prioritize your life because you do too much coding stuff. But to me, like, you gotta understand, I started super late. So I feel like I'm constantly playing catch up. And for me to continue to grow as a developer and catch up, I feel like I have to immerse myself in this coding life. So it's not saying I don't give myself free time. I just make sure that I try to prioritize my time accordingly. And what I do is, a lot of times when I do stuff like playing games or doing something else, I think about like, based on what I make at work, is the hour of doing some jackass activity worth it, or can I use that time to level up some of my skills to allow me to earn more money at work or stuff like that. Yeah, mining, yeah, definitely. That's a good point that Mental Life, or Marx is his real name. But yeah, mining Ethereum now is not worth it. And I think, like, because of that, hopefully GPU prices will go down and more people start selling. But yeah, like, I don't mine, like, I was mining just because I had the GPU, because I had the computer. But investing in what do you call it, Bitcoin or whatever, the coins, whatever, I have some money invested, but I just buy it. And I buy it to hold. Like, I don't buy and sell during the day. Then don't take financial advice from me, because I'm good at losing money. But basically, you know, that's what I do. You know, I don't mind, like, for sake of, like, especially now, it's not worth it. Not worth it. But anyway, that's good. What I say, guys, like, a lot of people like, oh, I'm gonna buy Bitcoins, I'm gonna do that. Like, to be honest with me, I was like, first, get out of debt. If you have debt, that's just really hard. So kind of, for me, that's kind of what I worked on. I worked on, okay, let me get out of debt first. Once I got out of debt, I'm like, let me start at least having some savings. So I saved like some money for emergency. And then I'm like, okay, now you have money in emergency. How much a month can you put away for investment toward the future? And so I started with Roth IRA. And then after, like, I had money left after investing into Roth IRA, I'm like, all right, let me put it in some stocks. But definitely, like, not being in debt helps. And also, this is one reason I went to development, because I want to make sure that I have a high value skill that will allow me to grow my income to eventually get to over 100K in, you know, in income, which will make saving easier, you know, especially if you don't raise your level of level of lifestyle, which is like, how much stuff do you guys really need? You got your computer, you know, you got your whatever, you know, what else? What else? You don't need like maybe you guys youngins need the fancy car and like airplanes or whatever. And hey, Anna, good to see you. What skills am I focusing leveling up right now? Honestly, like right now, like exactly what I'm doing on my live stream. I want to get better at GraphQL. I want to continue to get better at React. Once we complete this application in React, I'm actually going to redo a portion of this application with Next.js because I want to actually get better at Next.js. I'm pretty comfortable with it, but you know, I wouldn't say I mastered it. And I want to dive into Node just because at work, we need, like, even though I'm using Strapi at work, a lot of the backend logic, if you want to add to it, you have to kind of write your own Node code and whatever. So I'm basically focusing on Node. And once that's done, I don't know what I'm going to do. But that's where I'm at right now. JR Bugs, I don't know if you heard my story, but I literally started learning to code like around 35, 36. But I didn't take it seriously until, you know, 37, 38, 39. So you're definitely not doing like bad. What I'm telling you right now, don't waste your time like I did for 2-3 years. If you start now, stay vigilant and you're going to get a job way earlier than I did. I got my job at 39. And Sharma, hey, hello. Good to see you. By the way, guys, I know that, you know, we love chatting, but it's been 2 hours since we started. And so I could probably talk forever. But I also have other things like sleep and eat dinner. I have to do. So if you guys missed the stream, definitely you could rewatch it. They're always posted on my YouTube channel. And again, thanks again for all of you guys jumping by. Again, this stream starts, and I know sometimes you live in different parts of the country, so it's impossible to match my time exactly. But I do these streams at least the coding one, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I also have my other more open-ended where I talk about random things or some things that could help you in terms of getting hired or things that I'm learning that are not code heavy is on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. And just recently I started doing a podcast with Coding Addict on his channel. And we do those every Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. So if you could catch me anytime at those times. But with that being said, thank you so much. Love all of you guys. With that being said, you guys have a good night. And I am going to go now. Very traumatic exit. I am exiting the stream. Have a good night, everybody. This has been a pleasure. I love you all, guys. Oh, God. I don't think I'm going to be able to get out from underneath this table. Oh, no. My camera is moving. It's going to fall down. Bye, guys. I love you all. You guys are number one. You guys are the best.